We've got Sad Owl Studios with us. Thanks so much for talking to us. Give us a quick introduction.
I'm Gwen, and I'm one of the directors from Sad Owl Studios.
I'm George. I'm one of the other directors of Sad Owl Studios.
I'm Matt. I'm the third director of Sad Owl Studios.
And you've had quite the last few weeks looking back to the BAFTAs. Before we kick on and get into that, just quickly tell us about the game. Tell us about Viewfinder.
So it's a first-person puzzle adventure game where you use an instant camera and pictures to solve puzzles.
You were really one of the big stars of the BAFTAs this year. I feel like everyone online was talking about you and talking about your speeches. And before we chatted, before the ceremony, you said you didn't have any speeches planned. How did you manage to ad-lib speeches that people ended up absolutely loving?
The most important thing that I had in my head was just to do the thank yous. That was the thing, the most important. I was like, just make sure, you thank the team and everyone. But yeah, then I was speechless then. That's why I had to prompt Gwen to help out because I think we were told only one person's allowed to speak. Well, should speak from the team, and I had to break that rule because I just went blank. So I had to after the thing. So I just I think I just said to Gwen, help.
Yeah, I think the nice thing about not having a speech prepared is whatever you do say is very sincere.
There were some pretty emotional moments in it. Matt and Gwen especially. Have you recovered now? Were you expecting to get emotional in the moment?
The BAFTAs for us were just ensuring that everybody who was there, like from the start until the end of the game development, was there to share that moment. We were there mostly to just it was a nice closure, for us. And we really did not expect to win anything at all, let alone to. We made a joke that before, just in passing, that if we win an award, we should ask for money on the stage.
We want to make more Viewfinder, but please give us money.
And that was both a funny moment, but also very serious as well, because it is really tough to get funding. And do you think this is going to help, having that platform?
We know fully well, with all the layoffs and with everything happening in the industry right now, it's just, nobody's safe. But in the same way, we just want to make sure, that their team is okay, that we could keep on making games for as long as we could. And then hopefully, we get the game out in all the platforms so that all the players could also play, but at the same time, allow some time to, figure out what else we could do. And Matt is really great at, coming up with just more amazing things for that everyone should see and experience.
This year there was some pretty good recognition for indie games at the BAFTAs, but that's not always been the case, and a lot of the other game awards don't necessarily always take the same approach. Do you think there's an issue with us not giving enough of a spotlight to indie games?
How they handled Dave the Diver was really great. I think the team at Nexon also really appreciated that. But ultimately, one of the reasons why we didn't think we're going to win is because there were just too many games that were really good that anybody could have won at that point. And the BAFTAs really feels like it's an award made for developers that really celebrate developers. I think it's one of the few events that we go through, we could talk to people, we fangirl and fanboy to the Cocoon people. We love them. And then we got to meet the Larian. They're such darlings, and it's just, there's so many games made from both the AAA and then the indie side that I think it's just fair that each be judged on their own, but also for everybody to be judged fairly.
George, what do you think about that?
For me, what was really great about this year's BAFTAs, and this is kind of why we didn't expect, didn't prepare any speeches, because, as Gwen said, it was such a great year for games and also indie games. And I've played, pretty much all of the nominees are also from the indie games, and they're all incredible. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing that the recognition of even being nominated is such an honor. And we made this agreement. We'll just have a great time, whatever happens, because of these amazing games. So we wouldn't have felt bad if it's just to be nominated. But and going back to the recognition with indie games, I think luckily that already this year turns out to be another great year for indie games. With the releases that happened over the last few weeks. So I think hopefully all the awards out there, they just look at the game rather than how big the budget was, who made the game, and how big the team was, because that becomes irrelevant as long as people enjoy the game. And sometimes you'll see indie games outselling bigger games, and I think it's just, which is great to see as well, right? So
yeah, it's such an exciting medium in that regard, the way that small studios and teams can take on the big shots.
This game takes a very different approach to how you play. It stood out in a lot of ways because it was so unique. Do you think there's a problem with a lot of games now becoming a bit too stale and a bit too predictable?
I mean, I think it's one of the advantages of being in the indie space is that you can make more risky games that would struggle to find a larger budget.
I think it's also fair to say that because we do work with a bunch of people who came from AAA or are still at AAA, and their expertise is just on a different level. George came from AAA eons ago, but having that experience is just as important. And I think Dave the Diver is a good example of just if you gave people and gave them the freedom and the resources, everybody in the game space really loves games. And how do you describe Dave the Diver? It's just it's a sushi management, but it's just with that experience they've made such a unique and wonderful game. So it's I think if everybody was given the opportunity and it became more developer focused, and just supporting creativity, especially with the a lot of the profits that were at record high during the pandemic. So there is money available. It's just that we wish there was just more freedom given to creators and developers, get that opportunity to make the games that they want to make. That's gonna be really interesting if more people are given that opportunity. I think with us, Matt really just came up with this really ingenious idea. It was always going to be a difficult game to make. I don't think we could have made it without Matt. So it's just such a just a magical thing to see and be a part of.
It's so hard to stand out these days, but you've managed to do it with that speech. If you could have your time again, would you do the speech the same way? Is there anything that you would do differently?
I mean, I think that the whole team's speech was fantastic. I think it wouldn't have been better if we prepared it in advance. I think it's good that we all went in with points that we did want to get across, like, for example, making sure that the whole team is recognized. But yeah, no, I think it was. I was really happy with how the speech went.
And George, what next? What next for Sad Owl Studios?
Oh, if I could only tell you what we're doing right now. But I've got my two co-directors on here, and they might just cut off my video feed. But nonetheless, we're working on some pretty cool stuff, I might say. And we hope that people follow the call of Gwen during the awards and give us money so we can make sure that will also see the light of day. But we are pretty excited with what we're currently cooking. Wouldn't you not say, guys? Yes, we are, aren't we?
But has that plan changed? Has that plan changed since that big quadruple BAFTA win?
I think when we made the company, we have games in mind originally that we want to make. I think that's a safe answer, and we are hoping to be able to have the resources to do it.
So
that's a safe,
Yeah,
safe
I think
answer.
Yeah, I think the BAFTA win has definitely kind of put extra wind in our sails. I think we're all very excited with working with the IP and stuff.
amazing. Full steam ahead.
Yes, exactly. And hopefully people get to enjoy, enjoy more soon.
Very mysterious. Gwen, George, Matt, thank you so much for talking to us and taking the time.
It's been a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.